Hello, welcome to the newsletter video for Aphasia Toolbox, May 2015. Since I am doing this on Memorial Day, I want to thank all of our veterans for their service to our country. So let's take a look at the gradual reading activity at aphasiatoolbox.com, something we've developed here. The goal of this is that the client will be able to read aloud in a fluent manner 3 short sentences presented in cumulative fashion, one word at a time. This activity focuses on some important cognitive skills as well as speech and language, such as attention, fluency, reading, motor planning for apraxia, category-specific word recall, morphology, syntax. Actually, you can adapt this to work on most any of those skills. It's pretty simple and easy to create the stimulus, and you can make it very personal for each client and make it functional. So we use this for both treatment and independent practice by our clients. Let's take a look at our first sample. So this will be a high probability word search, words that we use, as well as very personal. The client looks at one and says, my name is Bob, and so on. This can be used by the therapist in a number of different ways. The first thing is to make sure that client goes back to that first word, my, because what they're going to want to do is just say the next word. So you're disciplining them to work on focused as well as sustained attention. That's the first problem we'll often see. So this one would go all the way through, and at the end, look like something like this. My name is Bob Jones, I live in Maryland, and so on. We've had our clients then, to work on memory, we've then said, would you say that back to me? Just whatever you can remember. So there you can be working on some verbal working memory activities. The kinds of mistakes that we're going to tend to see here is, instead of saying a city, a state, they might say the city. So there's sort of a category-specific naming issue that we can work on. All right, let's take a look at another one. This would be more of a low probability, so we're jumping into something where the next word is not easily predicted by the word preceding it. Consequences. Consequences need. Consequences need to, and so on. So we jump from a rather easy one to a much more difficult one. The kinds of problems we're likely to see here are with multisyllabic words, as well as the helping verbs, with some agrammaticism problem, with modals, and so on. Let's take a look at one that looks at compound words. Next month, our treatment of the month is going to be working with compound words in a similar kind of fashion. In this case, we try to load this stimulus up heavy with compound words. Sometimes I like, to, and so on. Remember, that client needs to go back to the beginning. We don't want that client, once they get started, we don't want them going back to the beginning again, which a lot of clients tend to do to get a running start. What you might see here are some errors like bookshelf instead of bookcase. Our next one is more of a functional one. So in this case, we built this so that the client is going to be practicing something that they tend to use in the real world. I'll have a California roll. So this is a client who might be ordering some food from their favorite restaurant. Some of the things that we can work on here are contractions. We all seem to forget how important contractions are because those are used routinely in everyday speech. Again, we want to focus on the highly frequent modals and helping verbs. Is, am, are, have, did, do, could, should, and so on. So that is some examples of how we do the gradual reading activity. As you can imagine, there are lots of different things that you can work on here that you can fold in, and they will be exposed as you work with the client with various kinds of PowerPoints. We like each client to have 8, 9, 10 different PowerPoints that they work on, and you will begin to differentiate the kinds of problems that will pop up. And finally, that's going to help you with your formative assessment, minute by minute, day by day, improving the program, the aggressive recovery program for that person recovering from aphasia.